Hello everybody, it's Jay Breeson here doing a slightly experimental recording here. There's no audio on turn 11, which I complained about in the video for turn 12, but I think I'm going to cut that and just going to overlay this. So it looks like I am looking in awe at the cedar pillars that I found in this province, which is a 30% enchantment bonus. Now, the reason that's great is because there are loads of really good spells to increase your magical diversity and just general research output when you're LATC, because revenants are quite important. I'm presumably looking at like Ghost Ship Armada and stuff like that and Gift of Health, but the earlier benefits are quite powerful as well in terms of revenants, and also Hidden Underneath is going to be castable from there for a much more reasonable gem price to potentially get out some, at the very least, high prot additional competence, although that does go into your earth stockpile quite badly. I guess I would probably do Earthblood Deep Well to try and make it up. Anyway, so construction's still going up to level 3, so that means getting Legions of Steel and Enchantment level 3 for Strength of Giants pretty soon after. Looking into Conjuration, it looks like presumably I'm getting into that for who knows what reason. How, actually, almost certainly. Sorry, this is like months ago. This is now, in my time, 27th and 9th, 2020. So, start of the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic in the UK. Whereas this was recorded like 3-4 months ago. Anyway. Looks like I'm just looking at alteration, probably just talking about all the different buffs we have available, which are quite a few. We have decent enough access to Astral, we have relatively good Earth access, and also a bit of Nature as well. But overall, it's not a super priority for LATC compared to get Construction and Enchantment, especially at this time of the game, because you really want to be powering into the first people you find with some buffed up horsemen, and Enchantment and Legions of Steel are the easiest basically way to do that. So we are attacking to LA Pythium here. I make some mistakes in this game, but attacking LA Pythium is not a mistake. Spoilers. Attacking here with crossbows on fire cavalry just to see if it'll wing any of the guys in the back. I don't know what the province defense is in this province, so if it has light cavalry in it, that increases your chance to hit centurions, and centurions die very easily to arrow fire, basically, and especially crossbow fire. As I'm probably showing off here, showing plate cuirass, legionary helmet, but no shield. If they had tribunes as their leaders, that'd be different, but hey, they don't. They're building a palisades down there. It's partly tempting to rush it straight away, but actually if you are on the offense and it's turn 11, you're actually probably better off just waiting until they finish it, and then you can go and take it a little bit later, instead of basically reducing their 600 gold expenditure to 0. In terms of value, you actually create 600 for yourself as well if you just go into it afterwards. So it looks like Jianlao is going over Cave Woods, maybe? I certainly send a mage or two out this way. Noth, again, I think is just moving into the crossbow province. Sorry, this is like play-by-play or something I did, God, ages ago now, but yeah. Looking around, so Utgard's pretty spooky. Atlantis took this province, which they're going to hold for a fair old little while. But yeah, I think our chief plan here is basically just have a look around and how we're going to attack Pythium at this point without bringing in Atlantis on our own head, because that would be inconvenient this time of the game, right? So I think I have a chat with Atlantis at this point on Discord. Basically just try and have a bit of a conversation about what we're doing. I tell him that he hasn't got any province defense in a bunch of his provinces, and he's a little bit grateful for it at least. But yeah, so Pythium, their expansion we know has gone quite badly because Utgard basically posted some screen cap over in, well, didn't even post a screen cap, but said that their pretender, or at least prophet, had been killed. So make hay while the sun's shining is my strategy here, really. We've got a lot of guys on hold and attack rear. That's always a relatively safe script, unless you know that the enemy is going to form a big line and walk towards you, or rather have a couple of small bunches and walk towards you, at which point just dodging them completely and letting the enemy attack into your mage line can be quite hazardous. But yeah, attack rear is normally relatively safe and relatively beneficial. And I don't know what else is going on with the rest of the turn. There's only a few minutes of it left, so, well, not even a few minutes, a few seconds. Probably just looking around, having a check out of things, maybe scouting out what the intentions of a guard throughout, or if a guard's already on the fort in Vettiheim, which at this point in the game I can scarcely remember even existed, but yes, it's there. It's on the map. And that's all there is. Thank you. So here's the thing about this turn. This turn is a little bit nervous because we found the bulk of Pythium's forces, right? No matter where they were from, they were going to be able to reach across this empire because his troops move even faster than ours. Oh, and then in here, so I didn't... there weren't any cav that got targeted, but what I said last turn about firing cavalry is accurate, because basically, yeah, if you manage to hit the commander when you're fighting LA Pythium with a crossbow, it's going to die or run away, which causes the entire formation to break, as you can see. So yeah, LA Pythium province defense, very, very easy. In fact, maybe I'll have Rolf Magnus go up here on the basis that the guys in Fungwood are probably going to... See, I had a chat with Ramk about this. I'm a little hesitant to attack 134 straight away because look at all these troops that may be going there. But by the same token, the enemy might just go into 157 and patrol and stuff here to make sure the cap doesn't get taken out, which would be pretty spooky if you were playing LATC. I was also potentially going to show off the raid order, but I don't think that is actually very advantageous to me. Basically how it works is you hold control and shift, and this sets up a raid. So this is effectively a ranged pillage, which with a pillage strength of about 100, or maybe a bit more. No one's quite entirely 100% sure how the pillager bonus stacks with everything else. Anyway, this causes potentially a battle before the main battle stage, but after the magic battles and assassination stage. So if you gave an implementer axe to a commander and they decided to actually attack a province, which is a whole other kettle of fish, you could potentially bleed enemy mages of gems this way. But there are all manner of things going to raids. Basically, you have some kind of, and the mechanics of it are not very well known, some kind of oppositional dice roll. This then decides A, whether the raid happens at all, or whether the guy who's leading the raid chickens out. And raids are done on a commander by commander basis. So if you have 10 guys set to raid, and 8 of them are mages, well, that could potentially result in 8 different battles. They don't all join in together if they're all raiding the same province. You then fight against the enemy PD and enemy patrollers if there is a battle. Everything that's patrolling is involved in the battle, plus all the PD, which for enemy capitals at least, I don't know if this is still true because I haven't used a raid order in a couple of versions, but it used to be the case that for enemy capitals it used to have the original PD type of that province. So for example, in this one it would be these dudes, set to that strength of set to normally 25. So in this province, for example, it would be this much stuff. But yeah. So anyway, after that, if you fight the enemy army, the raid will not be successful. You won't kill the population, and you won't steal gold. But you may wipe out a whole bunch of troops, but when it comes to PD, you don't reduce the PD either. So it's a kind of janky thing. But if it does go off, basically what it does is kills a huge amount of population and takes 5% of the population loss in gold. So if we killed 6,000 people, we would create an absolutely inordinate amount of unrest here, which would basically prevent him using his capital as a source of recruitment. And we would get 300 gold for it, which would be quite convenient to have. But yeah, so Ramp thinks he's going to move back to his capital. Now, Arachi has been on the server for a while and has yet to be tagged with the tag that means he's a game winner. So I'm always a little bit nervous dealing with these people because he could just while out. He could just go move everyone to here. Because if you press Control M, you can find out how many movement points something is. Now, if you click on an enemy province, it will tell you how many it would cost if you were an enemy player. So you have to look for something that is equivalent in your own territory, right? So 167 is forest. You then got a plain to then move into a mountains forest. Luckily, we have a mountains forest here over in Ting Woods, or Thing Woods. It's one of the two. So from here, it's 16 map move to move to there. Now, the Competenze on, although perhaps not the Palatina. Let me have a look. I think they might be a bit lower. On LA Pythium, have like 18 map move. They'll be fine. So Palatina only 14. Interesting. Competency have 16, so they can do it. But yeah, so if you're looking on here, you'd think, oh, it's 24. It's way too high. But you have to look on your own for something that's equivalent. It would be cool if Ilwinter would ever fix that, but I'm not even sure there's an issue with that, or what they consider the issue to be. I think it'd be quite useful if, selecting an enemy province would do it as if it was from the perspective of that player. That would be great, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, yes, so it isn't 24, it's only 16, which would allow the vast majority of his forces to get down there. Now, there's 20 Competenze here. 20 Competenze will probably lose to 40 or so Barbarian Heavy Horsemen. But I might change the... but he hasn't seen... I would assume... He may have had a scout in here, but I would assume he hasn't seen the exact formation, so he probably won't be set up to counter it. But if we move these guys down here, and these guys down here, then we can move into it. And now there's going to be there's going to have been 2 turns of this being up, so it's possible that they will have a fortress by the time we get there. But if we take it earlier in the turn than the defense basically recalculates, then it's quite possible that we'll just break through it as though we were sieging a palisade, which I think got what, 90? No, that's the wrong thing to look at. So 38 plus this guy 15, so let's call that an extra 2, 40. Let's call that 45. Yeah, I think we'll have the sea strength for it, just so long as our losses aren't too high going into these provinces. Now, we don't know what the PD's like in these provinces, because it could be one of the more difficult types, and he may have set the value really high, but we'll just have to see. Now, in this province, I'll set this up to 20. Get Rolf Magnus going in here, so that if he moves into Pythium, we may end up just taking the province out behind him. So we'll call that Fire Archers instead, because it's quite likely that, it's got a relatively similar defense to these guys, so these could just be archers. And then we'll possibly hit the Centurion behind it, and that'd be fantastic. And these guys are only mercenaries, and even if we only hold the province for, 3 turns, they're going to have paid back their cost, so that's fine. Now, if we go into here and we lose, we have this province to get back to. I may even put this up to 30, just to do a better job of securing the province in case he counterattacks from Pythium into Fenetice. So high-minded stuff here, high-minded stuff. because we want to make sure we've got somewhere to retreat back to if the battle in Chilad goes badly. So it shouldn't, but you just never know in Dominions, do you? So I'll take both commanders. We will sneak this guy over to Pythium itself. That way we'll know anyway, likely, how many troops are in here, but this will just be extra on top. We're moving a scout over here already, so if it turns out there's a fort under construction, then to be fair, that's kind of good news for us. But it will mean we have to go in straight away with whatever's left in Chilad when we're done with that, and the guys are going to be in the Hidden Realm as well. So we are recruiting heavy horsemen in here. There's one already recruited. We're also bringing over a Khan and a bunch of guys from Weeping Woods, and there's going to be some more in Monarch Woods. By next turn there'll be about another 30 or so heavy horsemen to go in. In our capital we are recruiting yet more Ancestor Vessels and Barbarian Heavy Horsemen. We're getting another General out and a Spirit Master. I kind of want the Spirit Master to potentially forge some boots just to walk a little bit further for our own mages. And we're searching the Hidden Realm with Yazzie. Guy found some stuff over here. It's not super likely we'll find anything. It's LA, so the number of sites is going to be quite low, and we've already found cedar pillars here, but I believe caves have a slightly higher, and I know mountains do, have a slightly higher percentage of sites than plains, so hopefully that all works out well. Over in Art we are recruiting some additional heavy horsemen. I might as well bring that up to 2. 2 turns till the palisade's done. We're moving this guy over here out into the province just to get it set up next turn with a lab and a temple. We'll probably go temple first, then lab. We don't, there's no advantage to us of going lab first unless there's something to recruit in the province, just because we all of our mages are sacred. I guess the only possible downside would be the kind of diplomatic downside of templing a border, but I'm sure Abyssia is understanding about that kind of stuff. No, we're not trying to dumb kill them with 2 temples on turn 13. Over here Agartha did turn out to be in Province 87. They've got some crossbowmen out. That's kind of LA Agartha's strongest feature in this era, I would say. So the Agarthan steel crossbow is basically like an arbalest, but it fires every 2 rounds instead of every 3. It's a very good weapon. Short swords have been buffed in JVBM very slightly, so in prior versions these guys would have had 9 defense skill. Now they're all the way up to a staggering 10. They've also got Dark Vision 50, which is mostly neither here nor there, but could come in handy, you just never know. And yeah, these are the blind fighters. Now these guys are magic beings. They have spirit sight and blind. They're a little bit clunky. I mean, they've got like good protection values, but they haven't got any resistances to anything that would stop them dying to elemental damage. And we haven't seen them in battle, so they may or may not have like a really broad spread of different bless effects, similar to what we do. But yeah, there are also 31 recruitment points. They are from any fort, but like their encumbrance 10, 31 rec. It's not great. But hey, who knows? Maybe we'll succeed with them. Jarek's a reasonably good player, so I have faith that he'll do well, even if he attacks us, which he might. You just never know. But yes, overall, not too much going on. I don't know how far Utgard has pushed into Pythium. It could be the case that they attack 116. They may even be invited by Pythium to do so. It's really difficult to know. Diplomatic situation in these games is always somewhat up in the air. We have Utgard apparently spanning all the way from 35 to 116. Maybe I'll send a message to him about that. Yeah, so who knows how this is going to go. Oh, the Sycona is a really good mage that Utgard has, by the way. I don't know if I've been over them yet. I'm sorry, it's been 12 turns. Basically, they're just great. Just got really good paths. Astral Death, Nature. They're 85 gold in the base game. I've made them 100 because they also come with a cool Fortune Teller. The Giants are slightly clunky to work, but they're okay. And yeah, the Norna and, I mean, especially Sycona are just very good mages. Scratia are not too bad in this era, but they're not great. They're not at their relative height, because they were recently changed in a patch by a winter to be like of declining power and holiness across the eras. Because in EA they're now a priest of all things, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, these guys are potentially a threat. They're a good faction. We don't have any fire mages, which is what they are relatively weak to, and we are always going to have a tricky time with giants in general, I think. But yeah, so construction 3 is done, so we have legions of steel. I would move one of these guys over if they didn't take forever to get anywhere, which is why we're getting a Spirit Master to make some boots. And we'll see how we go from there. Might get Bat Tribe Shaman in future, who knows? Might not though. In terms of mercenaries, we're trying to bid Mallorca's Green Men over here in Wick Forest. They can possibly beat these dudes in here, and the extra 100 income would be great. And yeah, maybe bid Man Fortuna again. It's like one of those things where there's no real downside to doing it. So yeah, I'll bid Man Fortuna. If we don't get it, we get our money back, and we don't have any particularly tight spending plans for the next turn or two. We can't get any heavy horsemen in here, so I'm not going to bother, but we can in quite a few other provinces, and most places where I can get them, I am building some. So that's the plan there. Basically just continue to mass up, hope this battle goes well, and I will see you next turn. Sorry, this one's been a bit of a meandering one. The heat has finally lifted, but still the thunder has not yet hit. Take care and goodbye.